Classwork 6-2 continued. We're starting with number 9. We're going to multiply the binomials using the box method. Notice for the box method, we have one of the binomials written across the top. The other binomial is written down the side. In each box, we're going to multiply the corresponding binomial, or the corresponding term. So we have 3x and negative x gives us negative 3x squared. 3x times 8 gives us 24x. Negative 9 times negative x gives us positive 9x, and negative 9 times 8 gives us negative 72. When we combine the like terms, starting with the highest degree monomial first, so we've got negative 3x squared, then 9 and 24 gives us 33x minus 72. Okay, so when we multiply these binomials using the box method, we get negative 3x squared plus 33x minus 72. For number 10, we're going to multiply these polynomials using the box method. We have a binomial and a trinomial. Notice the trinomial is written across the top, x squared, 3x minus 7, and each of the terms from the binomial is written down the side, 3x and negative 6. Okay, so again, we're going to multiply 3x times x squared, so we get 3x cubed. 3x times 3x gives us 9x squared. 3x times negative 7 gives us negative 21x. Then in our next row, we've got negative 6 and x squared gives us negative 6x squared. Negative 6 and 3x gives us negative 18x. And negative 6 times negative 7 gives us a positive 42. Now we combine the like terms. So we have 3x cubed. We have 9x squared and negative 6x squared, which gives us positive 3x squared, so plus 3x squared. Negative 18x and negative 21x gives us negative 39x plus 42. Okay, so our final answer is 3x cubed plus 3x squared minus 39x plus 42. Number 11, using the box method, we're going to multiply two trinomials. Notice the terms from the first trinomial are written down the side, 3x squared, 9x, and negative 4. And the terms from the second trinomial are written across the top, negative 2x squared, 4x, and 9. Okay, again, we're going to multiply 3x squared and negative 2x squared is going to give us negative 6x to the fourth. 3x squared and 4x is going to give us 12x cubed. 3x squared and 9 is going to give us 27x squared. Then 9x times negative 2x squared is going to give us negative 18x cubed. 9x and 4x is going to give us 36x squared. And 9x and 9 is going to give us 81x. Okay, for our last row, negative 4 times negative 2x squared is going to give us 8x squared. Negative 4 times 4x is going to give us negative 16x. And negative 4 times 9 is going to give us negative 36. Combining all of our like terms, we end up with negative 6x to the fourth, then negative 18x cubed and 12x cubed leaves us with negative 6x cubed, 8x squared, 36x squared, and 27x squared gives us 71x squared. Negative 16x and 81x leaves us with 65x. And negative 36 is the only constant term. So our final answer is negative 6x to the fourth negative 6x cubed plus 71x squared plus 65x minus 36. For number 12, we're going to multiply using long multiplication. Okay, notice that we've lined up our terms. Our constant terms, 2 and 5, are above each other. Our terms, negative 4x and 2x, are above each other, and then we have x squared. So we're going to multiply the constant. So 5 times 2 gives me 10. 5 times negative 4x gives me negative 20x. 5 times x squared is going to give me 5x squared. Then I'm going to multiply just like in regular long multiplication. We skip a space and move over one. We've got 2x times 2, which gives me 4x. 2x times negative 4x gives me negative 8x squared. And 2x times x squared gives me 2x cubed. Notice I've lined up my terms based on the exponent. So my x squareds are in the same column, my x with a degree of 1 are in the same column, and my x cubed is in its own column. So I'm going to now go down the columns and add. So I've got 2x cubed, I've got 5x squared and negative 8x squared will leave me with negative 3x squared. I'm going to add negative 20x and 4x to give me negative 16x, and 10 is the only constant. Okay, so my final answer is 2x cubed minus 3x squared minus 16x plus 10. For number 13, you can use any method you like. I'm going to use FOIL for my example. So I'm going to do first is x times x is x squared. So first, outside, inside, last. Okay, my outsides, it's going to be 3x, so x times 3 is 3x. My inside is going to be negative 6 times x is negative 6x. And my last two are negative 6 and positive 3, gives me negative 18. Okay, when I combine my like terms, I get x squared, 3x, and negative 6x gives me negative 3x and negative 18. Okay, so my final answer is x squared minus 3x minus 18. For number 14, I'm going to use FOIL again on this. So let's go ahead and do FOIL. So first, let's do first, outside, inside, and last. So my first two, 2x times x gives me 2x squared. My outside is 2x times negative 2, so that's negative 4x. My inside 2, negative 8, and x is negative 8x. And my last two are negative 8 and negative 2, gives me positive 16. Okay, when I combine my like terms, I get 2x squared. Negative 4x and negative 8x gives me negative 12x plus 16. So my final answer would be 2x squared minus 12x plus 16. For number 15, we're going to multiply a binomial by a trinomial. Again, you can use the long multiplication or the box method. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do the long multiplication without actually writing it out. So I'm going to use the distributive property, and I'm going to multiply this, then this, and then this. Okay, so I'm going to end up with negative 6x cubed negative 24x squared. When I do 3x times negative 8x, 3x times 5 is going to give me 15x. Okay, then I'm going to multiply the 4 times this, so that's going to give me negative 8x squared. 4 times negative 8x gives me negative 32x. And 4 times 5 is 20. Okay. When I add all these together, I get negative 6x cubed minus 32x squared minus 17x plus 20. Okay, so my final answer is negative 6x cubed minus 32x squared minus 17x plus 20. Okay, notice I used distribution, but then I set it up similar to the long multiplication where I lined up my x cubes, my x squareds, my x's, and my constants. Okay, so I line them up based on their degree. Number 16, I'm going to go ahead and FOIL this. I'm going to use my FOIL method on this one. So I'm going to do first 2. So negative x squared and negative 3x to the 5th gives me a positive 3x to the 7th. My outside is going to give me a positive 6x squared. My inside are going to give me a positive 27x to the 5th. And my last two are going to give me a positive 54. Okay, the only problem with my answer is that I do not have the degrees in order, so I'm going to rearrange it when I put my answer in. So 3x to the 7th goes first, followed by 27x to the 5th, then 6x squared, and finally our constant of 54. Okay, for number 17, when multiplying a degree 4 polynomial by a degree 3 polynomial, what is the resulting degree? Okay, if you're going to multiply a 4 and a 3, so think of it this way, if you had something that was x to the 4th, and you multiplied it by something that was the 3rd, x cubed, you would end up with x to the 7th, right? Because you would add, they have the same base, so the exponent property says you would add the 4 and the 3 to get x to the 7th. Okay? So for a polynomial with a degree 4 and a polynomial with a degree 3, the resulting polynomial would be a degree 7. Notice the coefficients of the variables in the final product of a plus b cubed. These coefficients are the numbers from the third row of Pascal's triangle. Each row of Pascal's triangle gives the coefficients of the corresponding binomial expansion. The pattern in the table can be extended to apply to the expansion of any binomial in the form of a plus b to the n power, where n is a whole number. We will start with number 18 on the next video.